to the Team Empire podcast. Just a quick thank you to our show sponsor, Infinite Aesthetics, for sponsoring the pod. Use the code Empire to save. Thank you so much for them sponsoring the pod. It's been so great. I have another new IFBB Pro on the pod today, and I've been meaning to get her on. We've got some time now, so we're doing it today. I've got IFBB Figure Pro, Nikayla Lawrence on the pod. How are you, Nikayla?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's so good to have you on the pod. Thanks for joining me. It's the 20th of December, so it's like Christmas time, but you've got a bit of time, so thank you.
Cool, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We're going to dive into your whole journey. I've got more questions for you than I think I've ever had for any guest, but I think it's cool because we really want to dive into you.
Cool.
So we're going to get straight into it, and we're just going to go through it all bit by bit. But first of all, 10 weeks today or tomorrow since you on Saturday since you won your pro card. So yeah, 10 weeks, that's gone so fast. How has it been for you in that past 10 weeks? Are you feeling stoked? Have you come up and down off highs? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think I'll get straight into this, but we talk a lot about mindset as well. And I had achieved that goal in my mind before I'd even achieved it physically, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a high for me from this, so to speak, a high in a different sense, which I'm sure we'll end up covering as we come through this a bit more. But it was a really interesting transition for me coming out of show. But yeah, from that space, having direction and to enjoy life a little bit more. It's been beautiful, but at the same time, it is quite a mind adjustment, which in the beginning was kind of difficult, to be honest with you. But yeah, so it's just I've really found trying to find those things and those consistencies, which I do talk about heaps as well, and trying to find those things we can keep moving forward with so that we don't just lose ourselves as well, because we go from watching steps, watching calories, exercising, doing all these things, and then that show's gone and that date, and it's almost like, oh, I don't have to be so serious now, but really reminding myself even and bringing myself back to the basics of why I do what I do, which is because I love it, so it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. You do hear that quite a bit. Hey, people become a pro and it's like, well, that was just the next step. Like that wasn't like the end goal. So it's not like you stop and be happy forever. It's like you just move on, don't you? So it's kind of cool that you just continue on that journey. It's just So a lot of people might not know, myself included, you competed in WFF before IFBB, and this is just like a whole different journey. So changing from federation to federation. What was it like for you? You were a pro in WFF. Talk about that transition, why you changed divisions, federations and things like that. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so WFF was the start of my journey. I had started there with my partner, Brendan. He was the one that got myself. It's actually Dean's brother as well. So he got me into it, he got Dean into it, he got my sister into it. So it's quite a family dynamic there, as we've already talked about too. But that was just where they all were. So Dean was there too. So it just made sense for me to flow through to there. I've always been in figure and naturally kind of fit there. And over the space of a couple of years, I ended up getting my pro card. But it was very different to how it felt this time around. It was quite fast working through the ranks with WFF in terms of the competition there. And for myself, I accepted that pro card, as most people do, because it's like, oh my God, you've asked me to be a pro. But I knew in myself that I wasn't ready for that step.
Gotcha.
So this was a very, very different feeling coming through to this year, because I felt like I deserved that win, and I felt like I truly to the core was representing what a professional athlete should be. So yeah, there was a very big difference there with those outcomes. Now the reason that I actually ended up stopping competing, because this is the first time I've competed in 5 years. I had won the New Zealand title alongside my partner Brendan, so we both won in our respective categories on stage together, and that was mission complete. We had both said that would be the end of competing for us, and he stuck to that. But we went off and had a family, so we spent a bit of time putting energy into that. So to get pregnant with our daughter, had her, and then after she was about maybe 1.5, I was like, man, I need to fulfill the potential that so many people over the years had said, look, you've got potential to do really well at that. And I never wanted to be that mum in particular that had potential, but that was all I had, you know? So that, yeah, that was a massive driver for me coming back and doing this. And IFBB, you know, like, as a family unit, we've always put ourselves in a position to be amongst the best. And if we lose, well, fuck, someone's done really well because we put our all into everything we do. So yeah, that was why IFBB became the ultimate choice. Well, divisions are across the board for IFBB. Yeah, so that was kind of why I ended up there.
I love it. That's a cool story. And it's a cool one going from, yeah, one to the other, and what you enjoyed about both, and becoming a pro in both. It's like a whole new achievement. And I think it's really cool. It's a really awesome journey, and you've got a story to share now, which is really cool. One thing that I thought was really awesome about Nationals and you winning your pro card is having your daughter come up on stage with you. And I thought that was such a special moment. I filmed it and I got to send it to you, and it was just so but tell us about that. Tell us about parenting. Okay, so talk to me about being a mother and having a young daughter and then competing as well. Like, surely there's like a whole sense of different things, like a little bit of maybe guilt for time, a little bit of like restraints. Like, how do you get through that as a mum of a young daughter?
Yeah, it's a balance thing. And I have to admit, like, the lifestyle that I live allows me to do what I do, because Brendan and I both own and have now for 10 years our nutrition and training business. So we both work in that, we live it, breathe it every day, but that also gives us the opportunity to be there for our daughter all the time. And when I was unable to show up because I had steps to do or I had other commitments or whatever, I'm just super lucky that I've had Brendan there as that support too. So there definitely were moments of guilt, but I suppose the thing that I tried to do with the show is typically when we would show up, no one would know we were coming. We liked that, you know, we kind of stuck in our bubble and we kept to ourselves, and we show up, and then the aim was always to win, you know. But this time around, I really wanted to show the journey to everybody, to show them that you can be hardcore and you can show up to these shows in great condition, but you can still be a good mum, be a good partner, run a business, be there for your clients and all these things. So it is something that I tried to really take a conscious approach to. So as much as I might have been frustrated and hungry and all these things at certain points, I had to remind myself that when I was looking at Macy and she was wanting me to help her with something, it's like, this is me putting myself through this right now. I need to show up for you at the same time. So she kept me honest. She kept me really honest. But at the same time, to see like me having to step away a little bit sometimes also allowed Brendan to show up a little bit more for her in a different way, and kind of made their connection as daughter and dad stronger too, which means a lot to me as well.
I love that. It's really cool.
But yeah, I have to say that out of the entire thing, that Nationals, you know, I didn't know that Macy was going to come up on stage. Brendan was saying to her, like, I'm going to throw you and you have to run to mum. But so having her up on stage there, like, honestly, even thinking about it now, like, it meant a lot to me that you videoed that, because no one managed to get it. So when you sent it, I was like, yes. But that was the moment of all moments for me, and something that I'll never forget, and makes me feel quite emotional actually. But because we put in a lot of hard work, and while that may have seemed like a sacrifice, and a lot of people would have been like, oh, it's so unbalanced and it's so hardcore, it's not great for a child to see. What she saw every day was her mum waking up and being committed to a goal. You know, it was that important. There were sacrifices made, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, she saw that I wasn't a complete dick all the time. I still showed up to all the other aspects of life, and I you know, took it on the chin in the way she should see it, hopefully. Hopefully.
Oh, I love that.
Being like, if she woke up early, she'd come in to me and be like, Mummy, you're doing so well, you know, like, cheer me on. Like, the moments that you don't forget as a parent, like, it's, yeah, so it was special, a very special prep.
Oh, I love that so much. It's so cool to hear. It's just like so heartwarming. And it's like, a lot of people as coaches of athletes and stuff like that, they like to walk the walk and make sure they're out there doing their thing so that other people can see it. But that has a whole nother meaning for you with the daughter as well, because she's going to see the same thing. And that's just really cool. If anyone's got anything to say about about it not being a healthy family, like people just know, do they? They've got no idea. And it's a lot more of a better environment than maybe having other things going on, like a bit of alcohol in the household and all these other things. Like, this is a very healthy dynamic, and it's teaching her really, really awesome things that she can grow into as a young athlete herself. Maybe, who knows what she'll do. Maybe we'll dive into just quickly before we move into everything else. What are your plans next? Because everyone always wants to know, what are our pros going to be doing, and things like that. But do you have anything in your mindset that you can share with us that you might be wanting to do next, or first with your pro card for IFBB?
Yeah, so like coming out of the comp phase for me, it really was about getting balance back with life, because it was a gradual, weren't able to do things with Brendan, and him and I have such a tight connection that it's stuff I wanted. So that's been my focus. I really have put the energy there, but knowing that coming into that new year, I'll be fully into off season, and the goal would probably be 2025 to end up on a pro stage. I'd probably be looking somewhere like Singapore if they do that again. But at the same time, like reflecting back on those shows, I know my biggest change is going to be in size, to be competitive, and I'm not going to show up to lose. So, so it's going to be trying to set that standard for myself, and it takes the time it takes, but yeah, the clear direction will be coming as soon as we get back from our New Year's celebrations.
Nice. I love that. Are you the kind of person, because I know that you like to keep things under wraps usually, like you just go into a show and get it done, but are you going to be the kind of person that might announce your pro show somewhere close to the show so we can follow along, or are you going to keep that under wraps and we'll see you get up there?
Nah, so I'll definitely, although I felt a bit of pressure initially by telling everyone I was going to compete, I like that everyone can follow along, and people seem to really enjoy that too. So this is as much for myself as it is for my clients and anyone that's following as well. Like, I like to share the ins and outs so they can see the highs and lows and all the in-betweens. And some of the lows were pretty low in there, but also some of the highs were really high. So I'm glad I took that opportunity, and I'll definitely do that again. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So we'll just keep an eye out. We can always see what you're up to next. How did you initially get into bodybuilding? Like the very start, like not even into the gym, maybe it was the same time, but when did you get into bodybuilding?
Okay, so bodybuilding. So it really wasn't actually at the same time. So I'd always been athletic at school, but as most people, that kind of gets slows down a little bit. Once I left school, I wasn't really doing anything. I hadn't been into a gym before or anything like that. And then roundabout way to go about this is I actually met Brendan, who helped me move from a space that was actually quite vulnerable, and through a previous relationship I'd been quite, what's the word for it? It wasn't good, we'll put it that way, right? So I'd been, self-confidence and all that sort of stuff had been crushed down quite low, and so Brendan suggested getting me into the gym to try and see if that would help build some confidence, and he was right, obviously. But so right from day dot, I had him as a training partner. I had him actually doing my nutrition at the start before we even became an item. So I had, and he was in the middle of a comp prep as well. So I have had the best intention and intensity with training, food, everything, the best of it all right from the start. But yeah, so that was how I got into it, and just naturally from being in a household and in a relationship in the end with someone that was that hard out about it, it just kind of had to happen, eh? So that was how I got into bodybuilding.
I love it. Were you like passionate straight away, or did it kind of build over time?
So much time at the gym, I'm gonna have to spend time with him. So I kind of went along and stuff, and he was the first person in a very, very long time that had told me that he could see potential in me to do well, and that was such a driver for me, especially with the space I was in then. For someone to see that, so I wanted to be that for him initially. Was where a lot of those first couple of shows really developed for me, was not so much because I wanted to be that, or I really I enjoyed it, but it wasn't a passion for me at that point still. And I think that was where the pro cards felt so different, because I knew that to the core, I wasn't fully in it. I was doing it for everybody else and proving a lot of people wrong, as opposed to this time, it really took becoming a mum and losing myself and thinking maybe I'm not actually all this health and fitness that I thought I was, to then going, holy fucking shit, that's definitely who I am. I need to get all these pieces back together again. Yeah, so it definitely was something that kind of flowed over time, and something I love it through and through. It is me. Yeah, and it makes me feel good.
Yeah, totally. And it teaches you a lot about yourself too, hey, along the way. You've got to really
100%.
repeat yourself over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And if you don't love it, like you said, truly love it, you're doing it for other people, because a lot of people do it to prove people wrong, or, you know, like wind people up. But if you don't love it, you won't, it's not, there's no longevity in the sport, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What it's about.
Yeah.
How was nationals for you? Was this like as a show day in general? Was it, did it run smooth? How was the day? Were you like just chilling, or was it good? Was it crazy? What was it like?
Yeah, nationals was good. So we set up in an Airbnb with Dean and my sister as well, Jasmine. So it's really nice kind of being in that environment, especially Dean and I both doing it. We kind of spend the morning chilling out and then looking at how everyone's looking and doing all that stuff. But heading down to actual show day was really interesting. And it's nice to share this, because I haven't actually had a chance to share it since the show, but something that a lot of people wouldn't have seen was actually what was happening behind the scenes, out the back, you know. And
yeah,
I had been sharing my journey with a lot of people, and a lot of the time with Instagram and social media, you share stuff up and you don't really have a lot of people saying much back, so you just keep putting it up and, you know, like hope that someone's getting something back from it. But I was extremely moved, and makes me still feel you're going to think I'm just emotional all the time, but it makes me feel emotional thinking back on it too, in the sense that I had so many women coming up to me saying they've been following along, other mums saying that it helped them to see how they could still show up for their kids, and also just to let themselves, like, give themselves a break too, you know. And yeah, so there was a lot of, I was showing up there with the intention to win a pro card, and I thought in my mind, like, I spend a lot of time visualizing and all these sorts of things. In my mind, it was me standing up there holding the pro card above my head that was going to make me feel good.
yeah.
And it was actually those moments out the back with those women.
Yeah,
it honestly, I don't even know if they know what it meant to me, but the fact they even had the confidence to come up and say, hey, like, I've been watching, it meant a lot to see. Yeah. It was a whole feeling.
Oh, I love that. They're so cool. And because, yeah, Instagram, you don't know who's absorbing what, and people aren't very responsive all the time. Like, it just is. But it's better to have it in person than even have it through Instagram. It's all in person. It's so nice, you know? And people actually like have like related and responded to your story, and it's just so nice. Hey, it's a nice connection. I think this is something you get in bodybuilding that sometimes doesn't happen in other sports, because we don't have, other sports don't have that downtime and backstage and all of that community vibe. We have that. So it's nice for women to like do that with each other. That they did that.
That's something that I was really focusing on throughout prep as well, like sharing that journey, as I was seeking out people, like trying to find others that were also on that same journey, and women in particular, and trying to help build a community where we were building each other up. Because it can also be quite lonely, and it's a competitive sport. We're all getting up there, and someone's winning and someone is not. But so something that I keep saying to a lot of ladies in the lead up to this was, we have all won, and we should all feel like we have won with the journey. You cannot control how that plays out on the night and on the day, and whether you get that trophy, but it's not even about that, you know. Sure, it's lovely. But and I can tell you this from experience, from going through that process and getting my pro card last time to the journey this time, it's the feelings in the journey where you grow and you do yourself proud that you win, and that no one can take away from you. So that was something that, you know, we spend a lot of time talking to other ladies in the space in New Zealand, talking about that, trying to build a community in these conversations where we're all empowering each other, and supporting each other. So it was really special that day. It was really special.
I love it. It's so cool. It's so disarming to do that, because it's so, like, it's confronting. First show, you probably remember going backstage and you're like, these are my competition. Like, we're not going to be friends. These are my, you know, I'm going up to take their prize off them, essentially. But if it's disarming, like, it's not up to us. It's not our thing. We be friends. It's up to the judges. It's so nice to do. And I think we just need to keep seeing more of that. I think it's great. It's a nice
Yeah,
shift
yeah,
in the way things are going in bodybuilding. I love it. So keep doing your thing,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Doing all the right stuff. I think it's great. Talk to me about your reverse diet, because this is the time of the year. What's Christmas now? But everyone's finished up for the season. They've been reverse dieting. Everyone's panicking. All the first timers are freaking out. You know how it is. But
Yeah.
how's your reverse going? Is it easy with time? Do you nail it now? Do you still fuck up? Like, how does it go?
Yeah, so reverse diet was interesting this time around because I was trying to share everything with everyone. I had a lot of people saying, you know, like from what I was saying before the show had actually happened, I was like, look, I've got my day that I'm going to go a little bit crazy and then I'm back on plan and all these things. I had a lot of women coming up to me saying like, oh, thanks so much. You've given me the motivation to do the same thing. So I actually, without realizing, I put a lot of pressure on myself that I had to respond that way after show. And when I'm standing next to Dean and he likes food, right? And he likes sweets and he's like cake after cake after cake. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like it'd be nice to bite of the cake. But then at the same time, I'm always authentic with what I share to everybody. So I knew that if I was to eat something like that, I couldn't not share it because it's just not who I am. So it took me a little bit of not having those things because I was trying to be that for everybody else, but realizing it was actually starting to create something in my mind where if I just let go and enjoyed that moment or that meal or that sweet or whatever, I could move forward. But it was actually starting to create quite a block in my mind. So it took me probably 3 or 4 weeks of going through this yo-yo of like, I'm on track and I'm happy with how things are visually in terms of slowly coming out of it. But I knew that I needed to change something in my mindset because I was not satisfying every part of me, which is not healthy. And definitely with clients too, it's something that I advise them against is, you need to find that balance. And I calorie track too. So finding that balance can be hard because when all you want is a peanut slab or a piece of chocolate brownie, you're not making those fats work.
I know.
So yeah. So I ended up coming around to a balance of going 6 days a week of tracking and having my calories a little bit lower than I usually would. So that on that 7th day, whether it ended up being at a Christmas event or there's been something on every bloody weekend, I could eat however I kind of wanted, still be conscious, but managed to stay in a pretty good space with my composition reversing out. So that's actually worked really well.
Yeah, I love that. And do you reckon it does get easier every time as your body changes and you get better at it?
Yeah.
Does it get easier, do you think?
Yeah, it's a mindset change. And I think, again, like I say, because this is the leanest I'd ever been as well, I had more of those, oh, that vein's gone. Oh man, I was really stoked when that one came, and then I've still got the veins in my calves, which I have no fucking idea how that's still there. But it's these little things that you start to see drop off. And that's what I think initially makes it hard. But it really is that change of mindset and being like, right, I'm an athlete. I have done this phase. I need to move on to the next phase. And to be honest with you, the New Year's thing has slowed that process down a little bit for me because I can't just, for myself, I can't fully let go and get into that space until I've worn my little outfit that I've got for New Year's.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to let it go a little bit further for off season, but yeah, it's just owning that space.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, 100%. And just remember that's your show day body, eh? They're your show day veins and they're your show day like leanness, and it's just for show day. It's not for the rest of the season because you're an athlete, like you said. It's just, I guess, coming to terms with that over time, and everyone will find that easier over time.
Yeah. And for me too, like my show and competing is just one thing for me. Like I have a very, very beautiful life, and sharing that with Brendan and my daughter and that sort of thing, it's getting that balance back. And that is my biggest driver with all of this. And when I started to see that composition change it's fine. It slipped a little bit this week because I allowed a real fruit ice cream with my daughter and my husband. Like like sharing those moments. Yeah. So it really is just being realistic and knowing that if I had that ice cream and I slipped, well, my composition deserved to slip. It's not like I was being stripped and it did, so.
Yeah. It was a way up and you decided to take the cost, so that just works. Love it.
Conscious decisions.
Yeah, conscious decision. You know what's happening, and now you're a pro athlete. You've been a pro athlete a while, and now you're an IFBB pro athlete, so it's like what the kiss is, I love it. What do you find most challenging about competing? Is there like a certain part of it that you're like, this is the hardest bit?
Answering this like authentically for myself and a little bit different to what most people probably say. From the last 2 shows, the hardest thing for me actually wasn't so much about the moments of where it was really hard in terms of food was low and steps were high and I was feeling really shit, it's really easy to share that. But what I actually found really difficult was sharing up. I don't know how much you would have seen, but so for those that did follow along, I depleted everything out in terms of all the glycogen stores and everything like that. And I pushed it very, very far because I wanted lines in my glutes, right, which I got, but we pushed it really far there. So once I hit that point, I spent the 4 weeks leading into the first show, Waikato's, eating a heap of food and doing no output. That phase was really hard for me to document and share about because most people were still hurting and didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So that was more of a challenge. And I think, you know, I actually ended up with my feedback from Waikato's from Mo was I needed to come in fuller, that I was too lean, which I was actually kind of stoked to hear. But so that stepped up again. And the first 4 weeks, so the last 4 weeks of the Waikato show, I spent the whole time battling with myself and not sure how to share what I was going through because I felt bad that was how easy it was for me. Yeah. The second time around, though, the last few weeks between Waikato's and Nationals, I was like, right, this is my opportunity to change how I have viewed cruising. And I'm going to share that this is what prep can be like. So I owned the shit out of that space and I showed everyone how nice it can kind of be if we put that work in and that sort of thing. So I was grateful for having that opportunity to work through how hard that was. But yeah, that was the hardest part for me.
Yeah, that's interesting because you'd never guess that, right? We wouldn't know unless you mentioned it. But it's crazy. It's like, I think everyone thinks you've got to get there on time. You get to the show on time. But if you get there early, you've got time to play with. It might be hard, but you've got these things that you can try. And like you've just explained, it was cool that you shared that to your community because I feel like it's something that doesn't get talked about often, but it's a possibility. I completely know. I think it's really cool. Talk to us about Waikato. I competed with you at Waikato. It was the first time I saw you. And I'm like, holy damn. And you cleaned it out. Unanimous first place. Easy figure win for you there. How are you feeling between Waikato's and Nationals? And was it a good show at Waikato? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was good. It was the first time I'd been back on stage for a long time. And honestly, like the last few times I'd been on stage 5 years prior, I didn't like it. The feeling of being up there, it just didn't, you know, that it was the idea of I'm up here being judged by a whole heap of fucking people that don't know me and they are telling me whether I'm worthy or not. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
But coming into Waikato's, I really said to myself, I have won. I have achieved in myself. I didn't cheat on anything. I fulfilled everything I wanted, you know, like I did absolutely everything that I expected of myself and more. So I was standing there really able to enjoy those moments more because the hard work had been done, you know. But it was a really well-run show. The ladies were really cool. It was my first opportunity of actually, like, normally we come up to those shows and we just sit in our little bubble, which is fine. But because I was out there by myself, I actually got the opportunity to mix and mingle and make some conversation and talk to some of these ladies I'd been talking to on Instagram. So it was really nice to actually spend the time and just make the most of the days as well. And then between Waikato and Nationals, it was just navigating that space of it's okay that I'm not pushing right now. There was that aspect of it too, watching everybody like grind and I'm like, fuck, surely I could grind more. But then just knowing that from the judges' feedback and from what we'd kind of discussed, like myself and Brendan as well, the biggest improvements I was going to make was by looking fuller and bigger. And I'm glad that we stuck through and did that because it definitely had more of an impact as well.
Yeah, and that's probably a good note on staying in your own lane kind of thing because it's easy to let that stuff get in there and then that could easily just fuck your whole prep over because you're worried about other people are behind and they are like, okay, I've got to grind. The game. It's just like, listening to what you're supposed to be doing. Who is your coach? Is Brendan your coach or do you do your own thing?
So we did a mixture of, normally we do our own preps, but we also worked alongside Adam Dowling as well. So he helped with those shows with a different approach. Something that we quite like to do is continue learning and trying new things. And that's the best way to learn is by going and putting it into someone else's hands too. And it was really nice because it allowed me to, like we've got, like I said, we've been doing our business for 10 years now. So we've got a lot of clients and a lot of expectation to show up. So it allowed me to kind of forget about my own shit for a bit and then move forward with everybody else and keep showing up for them. So so that was quite good too.
Yeah, cool. Do you think you'll continue with that sort of a like process moving into your next show, maybe? Start with that?
Yeah. So it was game changer for me. Like, I mean, the way that the whole process unfolded, a lot of people thought that I had peaked too early, which was really interesting, and that I'd gone too far, which I loved, especially well, if I look back, it did definitely look quite rough there for a bit, because in order to get everything depleted and bring those glute striations through, it was a bit rough. But then to come out the other end of that, I was eating 3,500 calories and I was dormant. I was told not to do any output. We were being very mindful of that just to help try and really fill things up. And we spent the last 2 weeks from between those shows at the condition we wanted me to be at on stage. So every day I was waking up and we were making adjustments based on, this is how I'm going to look on show day. So it wasn't like when peak week came around, we did nothing different. It was actually absolutely the same, because we were just trying to replicate the exact same formula that we had for the 2 weeks prior. So I knew what I was going to look like on that day, which takes a lot of pressure off as well, which a lot of people don't experience either.
Yeah, it's the ideal. What you've just explained is like everyone's ideal situation.
Yeah.
Love it. You had the perfect plan and you executed it very well. Talk about your posing for a second. Do you have a posing coach, and how often do you practice, and like talk about your posing? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, so posing is something I'd never put any focus into, but stage presence was something I knew I needed to work on this time, because naturally I'm not like a massive smiler on stage. Like I can for a bit, and then it's like, oh, this feels real fake. I need to have a break here. Like my muscles are sore. But so I was no posing coach. I was just doing that, like practicing at home by myself. Brendan is always someone that is like, we train together and all that sort of thing as well. So he is my go-to for all that sort of stuff. It's like, can you look? He's like, you can look. I know I can, but I need your eyes. So we did a lot of tweaking and adjustments. And it was probably a couple of weeks before Waikato's that Adam's partner, I actually did a Zoom with her and got her to tweak one thing for me that was really helpful as well. So although I haven't had any official coaching or anything like that for it, that tip in particular really helped with just proportions as well. But yeah, so I was happy with how much I had done with posing. I tried to pose most days, especially in the lead up to it. But yeah, I think it definitely helped.
Yeah, it looked great, babe. Your posing was awesome. It looked like you could have had a coach. We wouldn't know any different. But do you think you might move into having a coach into your first pro show, or do you think you still do your own thing and see how you look?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I suppose all these, I'm not opposed to any of this stuff. Like, I know a lot of people, it's like we used to be like that. It was very much so like, want to show up and be like, I got myself here and no one else did, you know, like, and while there is a lot of that, and coming into this pro show, we have the systems, we know exactly how to do what we need to do now and the model for how it works. So we will definitely, just between Brendan and I, will do that pro show. But posing, like if it comes down to needing to ask someone for some help, like I'm more than happy to do that too. I'm sure there'll be someone along the way where it's like, oh, I'll just get someone to have a look and see how things are looking, because it's such a game changer. Like you can look great, but you know, especially in IFBB, there was a big difference between WFF and IFBB. With WFF, there are like a million different poses, but you can also hide a lot too because of the angles. Whereas with this, like the symmetry has to be on point, especially figure. It's because it's so well balanced, which I love. There's no place to hide. Yeah, so the posing is very important.
Yeah, I love that about IFBB. It's go hard or go home, and there's no other way.
So good. So good.
I absolutely love it. Can we just talk about you and your sister real quick? Because obviously we had Jasmine on the pod just a couple of episodes ago, so people are probably familiar with her. They've probably seen her around and whatnot anyway. Did you compete with her at last year's Nationals? Or no, you didn't, did you? Because this was your first year there. Were you thinking about it, or were you just there to support her on the day and just, you know, turn up and celebrate?
So I was a year and a half from when I had decided that I was going to get on stage again. It was a year and a half process. So I knew that I was going to compete, but I didn't know when it was going to be. But on that note too, like I'm so fucking proud of her. She has come in, like, because when Brendan and I got together, she was quite young and had never been to the gym and stuff. She started going to the gym and she'd send us through videos of her doing squats and stuff. And then she sent through a video. She must have been 14. Sent through a video of her doing squats, and we were like, oh yeah, sweet, that's cool. And Brendan was like, she's got 2 plates on each side, it's 100 kilos, and she's doing like 8 reps. Does she even know what she's doing? Like, no idea. So she has got something in her that, like, she did really well with powerlifting too, and set records in that space for a young age too. And she's just an animal in her own right. So to see her come through the space the way she has and own wellness, she is a wellness athlete through and through, and I'm super proud as the older sister too, just to see her own her space and where she's going with it all as well. It's real cool.
It's so cool, man, and like just what a great family. I was just born into your family as well, because they don't have that pro status body. Do you reckon you two will end up doing a pro show together? Because that would be so cool, right?
Yeah, I'd like to. Like, we have talked about it, in the sense of me, Jazz, and Dean all at the same show would be awesome. It's just finding one that will do all 3 categories, because I know that the one I was looking at in Singapore didn't do wellness. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes over the next couple of years with wellness growing. Obviously, it's massive now. I really would have liked to have had my partner up on stage with us too, but that is never going to happen. So we'll just leave that be.
Yeah, you need a cameraman in the family. Someone to be on the crowd, you know.
Yeah, and I think, like, he was the glue for all of us too, you know, and he was that for Dean when he first started, and he's still that for me now. But he was the one holding that torch, and he's just lit everybody else and set us free, you know. So he's got quite a special role there too, even though he's not on the stage.
Yeah, he's still a big part of the whole thing. He's a big cog. How do you think Jasmine will do? I think her physique is fucking insane, but do you think she'll, on that international circuit, she'll do pretty well?
Yeah, she's going to do well. But the thing with Jazz too is that she has a mindset like no other. You know, she's got a point to prove, a chip on her shoulder, but at the same time, she's coming from a place of really loving what she does. And so when you put all that together, yeah, she's destined for good things. And I'm actually really excited to see too is that she's been doing nutrition with us for a while now as well. So coming on and trying a different approach, we've seen a really big change. Even, like, it's crazy to say, but we've seen more thickness in her glutes. Wow. Yeah, not that she really needed it, right? But growth in all the areas, alongside a new training program she's doing, but just we're using quite a lot higher carbohydrate approach with a little bit less protein, and it's just different to what she was doing. And it seems to be really, really holding well on her. So I'm really stoked to see how it'll all unfold for her. But yeah, she's going to make a good den when she gets there. And much like the mindset of the 4 of us, myself, my partner, Dean, and her, we all have that same mindset of we never show up to lose. Going on to a pro stage, it's probably being realistic that we might not win. Yeah. But we're definitely showing up to make an impact. So when she does, it's going to be pretty good.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be just hanging in there. When all of you guys can be, I'm just going to be fucking hanging on there waiting, but we'll see. It'll happen when it happens. And there's no rush. We want to be 100.
So. We're putting in the work for sure, so that it's a big package when everyone sees it, eh?
That's it. And we want to watch the journey too. We don't just want to watch the end product. We want to see us kill it and just go and get it, you know. It's fires everyone else up too, which is awesome. How has your mental health changed? Like, has it improved since you've started bodybuilding and competing? Has it been worse? Like, how is your mental health at the moment?
Mental health is good. So I have to say, so going from having our daughter, everybody kind of makes you think that you're going to have no time for your relationship. You're not going to have time to go to the gym. Your life's got to be about your child. And selfishly, I didn't want that to be the case. I had a daughter because I love my partner and I wanted to have an extension of that and us to grow something together. It wasn't to fix anything or make anything better. So holding on to that was really important for me. And also myself. This is something that I talk about a lot with my ladies that come on too, is like, you have to look after yourself in order to be able to look after everyone else. But I did go through a transition myself there of, after having her, of being like, maybe this isn't who I am. Who am I? And my mental health was terrible. It was really bad. But I probably did a couple months there of not being in the gym, and just that time of not having that outlet for me really made me realize that it is truly who I am. And then when I decided to come back into that space of competing, my mental health just continued to go up and up and up. And the further we got through prep, and the more that I kind of built that community with the ladies as well, and firing back and forward with others, it honestly has just continued to give me more self-worth and self-confidence and purpose as well, I suppose. But yeah, so again, like I know a lot of people suffer mentally with comp prep, but like a lot of challenges come up, and my thing was just working through all of those. So if I ever had anything come up and I started to feel shit, it's like, where is this coming from? How do I work through this? And this is how I grow. So yeah, it was a very conscious prep with a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, not just on a visual level, but yeah, a lot of I'm a different person than I was beforehand, and in all the right ways too. So yeah, so mental health's good.
It's good to know. You just want to know, like, it's good to check in every now and again. We don't talk about it all the time,
Yeah,
but it's to know our athletes are
definitely.
feeling okay, you know, and
Yeah,
staying
yeah,
and happy.
yeah.
It's important. Did you watch the Olympia this year?
Nah, no, I didn't.
Did you ever watch it?
No, nah. I have to admit, although I'm in the space, I am very much in my own lane, and we have a lot of stuff going on outside of this, a lot of aspects of what makes our life what it is, and bodybuilding just being a part of that. It's not my biggest kind of I don't know if interest is the right word for it, but it's just not been something that I've been massively into.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of people that don't watch it that compete in the sport, and that's absolutely fine. There's no, oh, you have to follow the top dogs. Like, no, not at all. You don't have to. But you probably know who Sydney Gillen is. She's a top Olympian. She's been 7-time champ. No one's able to knock that chick off. Like, she's fucking top notch, you know? But do you think someone's going to come up and take her out at some point? Obviously someone will, but she's like the CBum of figure, you know? And it's like these top dogs that keep getting it over and over again. Do you think she'll get knocked at some stage, obviously?
Yeah, I don't know, like, because I know who she is and that sort of thing. Again, I don't follow it massively, and I don't really know who's around it, so to speak. But speaking from like the experience this year with competing, is IFBB in particular are going through quite a big change with how they are respecting condition. It was like when Mo said to me at Waikato's, like, look, you are well past figure condition. You need to fill back up, and you need to get rid of some lines and that sort of thing. Like, if you looked at the previous years, what seemed to be happening across all the divisions was someone was winning that was peeled and muscular. So everyone was trying to be more peeled and more muscular every year. So I was actually stoked to have that conversation with Mo and to hear more conversations that these are the changes that are kind of coming, because it was starting to get a little bit like, where are we going to draw a line here? We're talking about health, we're talking about all these different aspects. So to see it pulled back a little bit is awesome. But will that change how they judge where people are placing at the moment? I don't know. Like, it'll be really interesting to see, but they obviously have a look that they like. Yeah, so I guess we'll see how long it lasts for you.
Yeah, and it's like similar to wellness, hey, they're pulling in all these criterias and making sure it all fits, because I feel like people are getting a little crazy with it. But Jasmine said the same thing herself, like everyone's getting rather big for wellness. Bringing it in a little bit. But another reason why we love IFBB, because there's drama in every other federation, and this federation is just tightening shit up. We're leading by example. I love that. Has everyone been super kind to you since you won your pro card? Have you only received nothing but love? Is there any haters out there, or do you just turn that shit off?
I haven't had anyone hate to my face or a message. So if they are, they're doing it quietly, and maybe that's respectful. But honestly, there has been a lot of love. And I think, again, from when I competed 5 years ago to now, I don't know if I'm just different or if the space is different, or the federation maybe. But yeah, there's been lots of love and support and just recognition and acknowledgement, and it's nice. It's real nice. But I don't know, I'm a big believer in putting that out as well, and I share a lot with other people, you know, especially in the community of ladies, respective of where they are in their journeys, about owning where they are and being proud of that too. So it's really nice when that's sent back my way as well.
That's cool. Nothing but love, man. That's what we want.
Yeah, it's good.
We've got some questions from Instagram. Should we go through those?
Sure, yeah.
What was your feedback from Nationals? I can't remember if you mentioned that, but
so Nationals, honestly, like, it was so bloody late, we just left. But yeah, so the feedback from Waikato's was to come in fuller, and we did that. And I think seeing the comparison, we knew what we needed to do once we left Nationals. Getting that pro card was the goal, and I know that in order to make that impact on the pro stage, it's going to be getting bigger. I'm not big enough. I can get lean, and I'm proud of that. But yeah, I need to add on some size, add on some more. So an off season and a decent one is going to be what needs to make the change, eh?
Nice, babe. And where are you trying to grow? Any specific areas or just all over?
No, just all over. So I think that's one thing that I seem to maintain really well, and it's just genetically is, and when I get fat too for off season, is it proportionally goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So not really nice if you want a nice lean midsection, but like yeah. So in that regard, I'm just going to try and keep everything really balanced. Actually, leading into these two shows, no one had even really noticed it, but I did have my left calf was in a cast when I was younger for about 6 months, so it was quite atrophied. So I had to spend quite a bit of time doing single leg, single calf work. And I did a pretty good job on balancing that. But so that will be the only thing we really keep an eye on. Because on a pro stage, we are all pro athletes meant to be in that space. They will find anything.
Yeah, they'll be digging because you're all perfect. So you're just like, what can we pick on?
Yeah.
I love that. That's cool, eh? What's your PB song or like your playlist, like your workout playlist sound like? What do you listen to? What genre?
Nice, I like this. So my style of music is harder styles. So things like hard style, hardcore, hard techno is the big thing at the moment. So if you listen to my playlist, that would be what it is. Very, very hard to find that style of music around here in terms of gigs. So every now and then, just so that I can take Brendan out and we can get dressed up and stuff, we'll go to something like drum and bass, but it's definitely not my thing at all. Actually, for the first time ever, Jazz and Dean are coming down with us as well. We're heading down to the South Island for New Year's. They've got at Rolling Meadows, they've got a harder style stage. So with an international DJ coming over.
Oh, nice. You've got to take those opportunities when they're here, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Because most of the time they don't come back either.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They're just like, oh, we'll go to the corner of the earth and then that'll be done.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. It's good to know. It's always interesting what people listen to, you know, when they're training.
Yeah.
Is Olympia the goal?
So while I look 5 steps ahead always, like I'd already, when we were going to win these shows, I'd already imagined in my mind that I'd won the pro show and that I was getting ready for my off season in my mind to prepare myself for the Singapore show in 2025. That's kind of as far as I'm looking at the moment. Olympia, potentially, like I'm not going to limit myself, but I would have to really, really, really be doing well at other pro shows before I put myself on that stage. A goal of mine is definitely to show up at a pro stage to see how I compare against other pro athletes, and then I'll kind of go from there. But we have some massive things coming up next year on a personal level and a business level and that sort of thing. So the energy's kind of got to go there at the same time as me putting focus and intention into an off season too. So we'll see how it unfolds.
Yeah, and you can't really picture it until you're on a pro stage, right? And then you can start to maybe now I can we'll see where I'm going to land. Yeah, totally understandable, Devo. What do you do for work? Well, we know now you're a coach, aren't you? But what does it encompass? Do you do nutrition only? Do you do PT? Do you only do athletes? Do you do lifestyle? What is it all like?
Yeah, so when we first started our business 10 years ago, Dynamic Nutrition was the name. It has actually rebranded, but we started off Dynamic Nutrition. We were in person. We were doing biosignature modulation, so body fat testing, hormone-based testing, that sort of stuff. So nutrition had always been the focus, but we also did training programs and personal training and that sort of thing as well. As things have progressed, something that Brendan and I have always loved is going overseas and spending time in Thailand. So our goal has been to be online, so we can be anywhere in the world and still provide time for our clients and stuff. So we are fully online now and have rebranded to Nikayla Lawrence. That all prep, which is always fun because it's like the worst time to do anything other than prep, but but always seems something major always happens during a prep, right?
Yeah.
Clients, and we're still nutrition and training for all of it. So nutrition and training is the focus, but I suppose I feel like I would be missing out an element if I didn't say that when our clients come on, it's a holistic approach as well. So whether it's health and wellness or whether it's competing, it doesn't really matter. We do all of it, but there is very much so a getting to know my clients on a personal level, who they are, what makes them tick, what's happened in the past, all those sorts of things. So I can help actually truly change their life and help them work through barriers, as opposed to just being like, you've come into me as this, and this is all I'm working with. You know, we've got a lot of baggage that comes through. We've got lifestyle, we've got all this stuff. So I pride myself and Brendan himself as well on encompassing all of that when we have a client come on.
Yeah, makes you a better coach, 100%. People know the difference too. They notice
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I love it. I love it because, you know, at the moment too, which is something that is cool for me, is I've got a lot of ladies on that I'm seeing. They might be PTs themselves and that sort of thing, but seeing them own their own space. So the confidence they've built from the approach that we use, and from having like me as a soundboard as well, we've built such a beautiful dynamic. It's just seeing them flourish. It's like Brennan with that torch that I said. Fuck, it's a good feeling. It's not even about me. I get just as much, if not more.
Oh, I just lost you for a second. Come back. Oh, oh, can you hear me? I can hear you, I think, but I can't see you.
Dropping on.
Yeah, it might signal. Can you see me though? Oh yeah, that might have worked.
Oh, back.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah.
you see me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, sweet. Okay, cool.
Gotcha. I don't even know where we were. Oh yeah, coaching. I forgot. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to be coached by you guys? How do they reach out?
Yeah, so Nikayla Lawrence Fitness is my. I'm gonna have to okay, might have to cut that bit.
Yeah.
Because I changed it. Hang on, let me check. Just make sure I get the bloody thing right. Yeah, okay, sweet, cool, good.
Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you guys about coaching, how do they reach out?
Yeah, so NikaylaLawrenceFitness.com is our website. Otherwise, you can also get in touch via Instagram, Nikayla Lawrence Fitness as well. Yeah.
Nice. Get out there, guys, if you want Nikayla. You know what it includes now as well. So there's a little bit of a backstory into what you're going to be getting. Another question from Instagram. What's your favorite lat building exercise?
I like to include quite a lot of different stuff, honestly. Like there's not really one size fits all with it too. It's hard. I am a sucker for chin-ups, and I find that neutral grip chin-ups, so like this, are really good. One thing that I noticed over prep is that I've always had quite weak biceps, and it's not something you need majorly in IFBB, but in WFF, you had to do bicep shots, and that was shit. But I did no bicep work, but from doing neutral grip, you also get a lot of that stimulation as well, so it's really good in that sense too. But yeah, so all the hard stuff would be the answer for me.
Yeah, that says everything, guys. There's not one.
Yeah.
But maybe they were just like, what's the secret? There is no secret. You have to do it all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's really sticking to something long enough. So do the hard stuff, you know. It's like I was stoked too as we came through comp prep to see like the Christmas tree thing come through on my lower back too. So deadlifts, rack pulls, like all these things. Go hard and go heavy, but also make sure that you are feeling everything you're doing. Don't just chase the numbers, because so many people do, and then it's like you see them doing it, it's like, fuck, like if you just pull this back a bit, now try it. Oh, now I get it. Like it's not about that number. So really just reminding yourself of that too, not getting caught up on the ego stuff.
Drop the ego, guys, especially with back day, because it's so easy just to throw it around.
Yeah.
And you want to keep it.
Yeah.
And a question from Dean, I think it was, is there any sibling rivalry between you and Jasmine now that you're both pros?
I like this. So answering this honestly, she is my younger sister, and as you would have heard at the start of this, I have so much love and respect for her in the space that she's had. And I think I definitely don't have any. Like initially when she first won her pro card, she won that in figure. Now she called me quite upset with that call when that call was made, like, look, you know, you need to go into figure. And she's like, but I'm wellness, like I love wellness, I want a big ass. You know, for me initially I was like, oh shit, okay, fuck, she'd be my biggest competition in figure. Okay, well, may the best lady win if that's what happens. But at the same time, I was trying to navigate that in a way that I could answer that, and honestly, not from a perspective of, I don't want you to figure because you could beat me, but also just knowing truly that she's wellness, and that was where her heart was too. So trying to help support her through that, but not make it sound like I was just trying to get her out of the way so she wouldn't beat me. But no, so no sibling rivalry from me anyway. And the way that Jazz talks back, like we have a lot of love and respect for owning who we are as, you know, so I don't think so.
Surely not. And she's like, surely would just only use you as inspiration in some sense, being the younger sister.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you would generally
Yeah,
do.
we're back and forward with each other. It's really, yeah, we've got a real good relationship. It's good.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. Definitely something probably people would think about. I didn't think about it, but someone sent through the question. I was like, oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I suppose so. I think because because we have obviously got the dynamic of Brendan and Dean used to compete as well. Very, very, very different physiques.
Yeah.
Now there probably was a little bit of rivalry there, and maybe from Dean because Dean's this is Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and this is why Dean's done so bloody well, because when we decided to stop, and Brendan had that same feeling of, look, stage isn't really for me anymore. Dean didn't have that, and he stuck with it, man. He put the time in, and he did like a 5-year fucking off season. Who else can say they did that? So when you look at where he's got, that's why it does not just happen overnight. So yeah, so fucking he deserves that too.
Just head down, no social media, just fucking just get the job. We love it.
Yeah.
Let's play a little game of this or that. So you're picking your favorite out of these, okay? So we'll shoot through it like it's a quick fire, little round.
Okay.
Leg extension or hamstring curl?
Hamstring curl.
Yes. Shoulders or back day?
Or back. Just
Yeah, shoulders are fun too. Is sweet or savory post-show treats?
Fuck. You said it's a quick answer. It used to be sweet for me, but it is savory now. Yeah.
Do you get post-show? Is there like something you go and get? You like burger fuel? You like this or like pizza? Is there anything in particular, or just different every time?
We talked about burger fuel, but we didn't end up doing that. I can't remember the name of the place we went to initially because it was so late with Nationals that it was just somewhere that was open. But I knew 100%, being in Auckland, we were going to go to Rude Boys. They are the best. If you've ever been, definitely go. Yeah. Yeah, real good.
Guys. Take a note. Next Nationals.
Yeah.
CBum or Arnie?
Depends what regard we're saying this in, but if we're not going to overcomplicate this, I'd say looks is my answer here. Would be CBum.
Yeah, love it. Different eras as well, aren't they? So
yeah.
Coffee or energy drinks or pre-workout kind of thing in the energy.
Coffee.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Winter prep or summer prep for the shred?
Summer prep, and I'm not going to give away too much, but my next shows will definitely be summer preps.
Secret. Pro show in the USA or Asia?
Asia.
Ooh, you're the first one to say that, and I'm all about it too.
Yeah.
I go all out.
Personally, I think it's a good stepping stone too. Not saying that Singapore's shit. Like the Singapore show that I was looking at doing, I can't fucking remember her name, but that you get some good top Olympia girls show up to those. Bojana, they show up to them too. So they're not easy, but they're just, it's a good first bite, I think.
Yeah, just to get in there, get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Chicken or steak?
Maybe steak if it's done really well. I don't eat it much, but steak if it's done nicely. Yeah.
Little treat. Morning or evening workout?
10 a.m. workouts, if you want to call that morning. This is, again, the flexibility of my life.
Yes.
Allowed you to get a meal in, so you've still got strength, but then not late at night, sort of affects sleep and that sort of thing too.
That's the same as me on the exact same. That was my last question, was train fasted or not, but you obviously don't.
Nah. So there's a time and a place for things, but I like having energy. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Nice, babe. That's all of my questions there for you, but I've got a couple more because I just want to get a little bit more advice out here. But what is some of the things that you put in your show day bag that you're like, fuck, you ladies have to have this, like, you'll miss out if you don't?
Oh, okay. So if we're talking ladies specifically, I'd definitely say bikini bite. And so I used like the gel bikini bite last time's competing. It's got nothing on, like the straps are better, way better. I found them really helpful with holding my like bikini top in, because I'd turn to the side and then would have like stuff pop out that it shouldn't. But so having that was really helpful, just for peace of mind that everything was staying in place. Yeah, and then we normally keep it pretty simple with the rest of the stuff. But it's funny because I say that post-show I'm talking savory, but show day I was pretty like low key on what I was eating, but I definitely have LCM bars and Werther's, and I even had like some chocolate fish in there too, like just for energy. Yeah,
extra carbs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What do you eat on? What is like your carb on show day? Do you just have rice? Do you have rice cake? Like, what is your favorite like just basic carb that you have on show day?
I went through a mixture of having rice, so just Uncle Ben's Mexican rice was what I liked. And then I did some jam and muffin splits, go to. absolute go-to. Yeah.
Delicious. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. People say show day food's bad. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
Nah. Yeah.
Muffins and chocolate fish, we can live with it. What's your training like at the moment? You said you're building at the moment. What's your split look like? What does your training look like? People always want to know what you're up to like that in that sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I've only really just fully committed myself to that build kind of mindset. So recovery is done fully. So I'm back to doing 4 to 5 workouts a week, and I always go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then have the odd Sunday in there as well, just depending on if it's a 4 or 5 day. And it'd be nice to do like a 2-day on, 1 day off sort of thing, but I just find it easier to juggle having a daughter and that sort of thing and planning events ahead and stuff to know exactly what days I'm training. But yeah, I cycle between heavy, moderate, light, and then doing a metabolic week of workouts as well. And I mention that because I know so many people don't, and it is so important to help with longevity in the sport. It is structuring in those metabolic workouts before you feel like you really need them. Injury management, prevention, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because people are going ham 24/7, aren't they? Like 5 to 6 days a week, every week, without a deload or anything. And it's like, just give you some
yeah. It goes really good until something breaks, you know, and then that time that you have off is more, it's more of an issue than having what you'd consider a week off, you know, scheduled with a metabolic week, you know, and also really good for strength too, because it gives your body a little bit of a break from those rep ranges, then you can go hard again.
It's a good thing to put out there. I think everyone needs to listen to that a little bit more. Back with the ego, everyone's in the gym. But do you enjoy having 2 to 3 days off a week? Does that work for you quite well? Those amount of rest days are really good for you. Yeah,
the rest days are important. And like, so when I do my workouts, I go hard. The intention is there. Like if you're able to train every day, there are exceptions to it, but I would argue that unless you've got a mega amount of food in there, like I have with my clients that do like E45 every day and that sort of thing, you're probably not training hard enough if you can train every day and recover. So when bodybuilding and aesthetics are the main focus, you really have to be able to ask yourself, why are you training every single day? And for me, like if I can train 4 days a week and get the results I need, then that's 3 days a week that I can spend with my partner and with my daughter and with my dog and doing other shit.
100%. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do it? I love that. What are you guys up to for Christmas? Are you working through? Are you doing anything fun? Do you guys do a family Christmas? Like what happens?
It's been a bit spread out this year. I did want to try and get everyone together because we have some big stuff coming up next year, which means we're not going to be here for Christmas. I will release that in the new year. But yeah, so unfortunately, it's been really split up. We haven't managed to get everyone together. It looks like we're going to have a pretty quiet Christmas. But Jazz and Dean are going to be coming down, and we're doing a roadie all the way down to Christchurch. So for New Year's for Rolling Meadows. So that's the first year we've actually done anything in a long time. So it's going to be real nice, just the 4 of us to spend some time and have a party.
That's cool. And it doesn't matter you're missing out on Christmas, you're making a memory somewhere else. So that's doesn't it? And that's just something for a lot of people out there who have lonely Christmases, or people have moved away, or they're going through a breakup, whatever. But Christmas doesn't have to be fucking everything. It can be chill, small. You can go to the gym on Christmas. I always go to the gym on Christmas. It's quiet. It's perfect.
Yeah, we do too. It's so good, eh?
I love it. I'm like, well, you fuckers can't be bothered, but I'm here. So
utilize some of that extra food too, eh?
Yeah, Boxing Day back in there again. We love it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of advice if you have any, but advice for people that are working from the bottom first year, like maybe myself. I've just done my first season, but a lot of people are working for the pro card. They want to make a longevity in the sport, and they really want to make it something. Do you have any advice for people that are kind of starting, maybe feeling a bit disheartened, they didn't get any placings that they wanted? What do you say to those people like trying to drive their way up, keep going, that kind of thing?
Be realistic and take your time, I guess. Like we get a lot of clients that when they initially sign up, I want to do a show, and it's like, okay, why do you want to do a show? You've been in the gym for a year, A lot of people feel they need to have competing as a goal in order to stay committed. And if you need that as a goal, you need to really reassess what's going on, because it's what we do in particular is a lifestyle change. It's not a quick fix. It's not 10 kilos in 2 weeks. It's about changing habits and lifestyle. So really you should nail down all those basics first, and then be like, right, like yourself, for example, if there's someone that's been in it for that long, if you've gone away and done that show, the biggest advice I'd give someone is just allowing yourself enough time between shows to really make progress, because we get these people that I don't know, I feel like there'd be a name for them, but I don't know what it is right now, but in the sense of like, they just keep showing up to all the shows. If you show up to every show, you're not going to get any better, and judges are going to see that. They're not going to sit there and go, oh yeah, you're here again, you've done 4 shows this year. They're going to go, oh, she's not getting any better. you know? So allow that time and assess where you're at specifically. You know, some really do need to take more time off depending on the class to grow. So don't be afraid to take a year off. You know, people are going to forget you, but then they're going to remember you real quick when they see you and compare, you know? So it's just taking that time and acknowledging the space that you're in and how much energy you actually have to put into it, because you really want to be able to start that process of competing and be able to give your all. It takes up a lot of space. So it's just really kind of giving it that time as well.
Yeah, patience, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Something I don't have a lot of, but in the sport I somehow have it.
Neither do I. Yeah.
You kind of have to, you're forced into it. If you don't like it, it's the way it is.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really good. And yeah, there's a lot of show like hoppers around in New Zealand, but I like to call them donators to the federation.
Oh, yes, there you go.
They're keeping us going. We need the money to do it.
Yeah, that's good. I knew there was something that was perfect.
Yeah, it's positive, you know, and we like to see people turn up again and again. That's fine. You just do your thing, but to win it, you're going to have to change some shit up, I think. But that's what it is, isn't it? Have you got any sponsors?
No, I don't actually. So I have to admit that for myself, like as those opportunities come up, which, you know, maybe that well as things progress, I pride myself on being extremely authentic in the way that I am on social media, as I am as a coach, all those sorts of things. So I would never endorse something that I didn't actually use myself. You see a lot of people kind of selling their souls for a product and 50 Instagram posts and a product they don't even actually use themselves. So a lot of what I do too isn't based around having to take a lot of supplements. So in that regard, I might not be the best, you know, but if I do, it'll be because it's right for myself and for everybody else to kind of see too. So we'll see how it all unfolds.
We'll see what happens. She's a pro. You never know who will approach you these days. But is there any clothing labels or supplement labels that you would like to be sponsored by? You're like, oh, that would work because it's part of my alignment, you know?
I'm honestly really boring when it comes to clothes too. Like I know when I listen to Jazz's one and she's like, Elf Letty and all these things. Like, I love it. I love it. She knows, but I don't have like a massive... it's so hard to find even clothes that I just like to wear. I'm always in active wear, but everything's like plain and nude. Like I like bright. I work hard to look how I do. So like chuck some pink shorts or some yellow shorts on me and I'm here for it. But so yeah, again, like I don't really have any sponsors that I would like. It's just whatever comes.
What happens. Yeah.
Whatever happens, you know.
When it's supposed to happen, you know. That's what it's about. It just helps to fill the pocket of the athlete so the athlete can do their job, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Comfortable and happy, then we're happy, but it's just a little bit of an extra thing that can help you support you along the way. Yeah. Great, you don't need it at the moment. We're killing it. Anything else that you want to add before we finish it up? I think I've picked your brains a lot today. We've got a lot out of you, but anything else you want to add?
No, not really. Like I'm stoked to have the opportunity, and it was really nice for you to get in touch too and offer the opportunity, because I share a lot via social media, and I like people to see me for who I am, but this is an opportunity where I like to ramble, and you've given me the space to do that too, and ask good questions that like hopefully it'll help to give people a bit more of an understanding about who I actually am, because this is me.
Yeah, I love it. It's so good to chat to you about it, and I just felt like of course I'm going to get the pros on because that's what the sport is, and I want to talk about pros, but you just have something about you. It's like an essence about you. Like on the stage, you were just so like you said you don't smile much, but all I remember is you smiling. Like, and you were so lovely, and you were so like gracious. And I yelled out, I was like, "Go, Nikayla!" And you looked at me directly, and you're like, "Thank you." And I was like, you're such a sweetie. Like you're such a great person, and you can just tell you're so authentic, and I love that. So regardless of whether or not you got a pro card, I would have loved to talk to you anyway. I think you're a great role model for the country and for young women and anyone coming up in the sport. So just keep doing what you're doing, because I'm loving it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So good, babe. Well, thank you so much. And anyone that can go follow you on Nikayla Lawrence Fitness, go check her out, and NikaylaLawrenceFitness.com if you want coaching. But go check out her Instagram, guys. Go follow her, because she's going to be more to the journey. It's only just really getting started. So let's go check it out and see what you do next. It's going to be exciting.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.